given that this is getting a lot more public attention, like the concept of detransition, of course, I think we've shared a lot of thoughts and ideas and just kind of ramblings about this. Is there anything that you think the public really misunderstands that you want to clarify or like straighten out? Like, what's your sense of, lots more people are learning about detransition, and like we've talked about, these people unfortunately getting slotted into some political identity, which we're trying to dispel that in this episode, right? But anything else that's misunderstood?
I think, and I this is my own feeling, and if people want to write in and tell us on social media, please do. But my feeling is that there's a blandness to understanding. Often the kind of the non-detransitioner thinks, oh, that's so awful, I couldn't go through that, can't imagine it. While, you know what I mean, the complexity of being the detransitioned person is, it's sometimes people act as if, well, now you're safe. If you follow me, you've stopped the now you're out of it. And it's like, now you're starting the long, hard road to some sort of recovery. It's the end of the beginning. You know what I mean? There's a lot ahead. And people think because they've stopped the medical transition, they've stopped the psychological falseness that they were telling themselves, that
it's all smooth sailing or something from here.
And off you go. And I know it's very difficult about your body, but honestly, you're out of the cult or something like that, they say. And I'm like, I'm really minimizing the massive psychological kind of distress that they have to work through. It frightens me sometimes how much they have to work through. And I really think that we have to be really, really gentle around that and understand that you can go forward, you can go back, you can go forward. You know what I mean? That it's there's an awful lot of kind of prevarication. And one other thing I think is, now you've said it, you've started a train. For some, not all, some of them, they lose their gender dysphoria, they lose the identity and they move on. And I think that's a little bit easier. For some, they keep their gender dysphoria. They still want to be a man. They still want to look like a man. But they realize it didn't work medically. It didn't work. I never became a man. It was all kind of cloak and daggers. It wasn't true, smokescreen or something. And I've still got gender dysphoria. And I still wake up every day. I still kind of deal. I think people forget that some detransitioners, many detransitioners are experiencing quite severe gender dysphoria that comes and goes and can come much harder sometimes. And I think a lot of people who are gathering around people who are detransitioned, they don't want to hear that they still have gender dysphoria. They don't really, that doesn't sit comfortably with them.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I think this is really just highlighting how complicated and different experiences can be, because one of the things that we've talked about before, and I think is really important, is having a sense of hope and of rebuilding. And when I've seen detransition people who seem to be doing well in a kind of holistic way, what it seems like is like the detransition process is a reckoning with reality, which, like I said, I think that is the start of any psychologically well journey, right, towards wholeness. Like we have to be in reality.
Yeah.
And that some trans people are in reality, and so they can move towards wellness even while trans. So I don't think it's like a kind of, I don't mean to say that in order to be healthy, you have to disavow transition as a thing. But for the people who are kind of in a fantasy bubble, they come back to reality and then they rebuild. And, I've seen people talking about how they just slowly, little by little, made choices about their health and their well-being and their social life, and just inched their way towards taking care of themselves in a way that felt really different from maybe their transition, which was maybe like some form of self-sabotage or some kind of self-harm. So I think you're right that it can be very hard, but I just would like listeners to know that there's also hope for rebuilding a life.
Yeah. You reminded me of that lovely Carl Jung quote, "The right way to wholeness is made up, unfortunately, by fateful detours and wrong turnings. I could
Yeah.
print that in my head, because every day I seem to take a fateful detour and a wrong turning. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It
We
is,
all do.
don't we? Don't we? And sometimes we go
Yeah.
in deep, deep, deep into a fateful, detour and a wrong turning, and it's just part of the kind of the pattern of life.